Got it? Does my hair look good? All right. All right, so look up here for a minute. My last class had this happen. They had a group of people together and they were all chatting. There's different sides of the brain. The left side of the brain controls organization and speech. The right side of the brain controls drawing ability and the intake of information. You can't do this grid project, or usually you can't do drawing and talk at the same time. People in my last class, you probably heard them saying this. I can talk and do this at the same time. But she probably also heard a whole bunch of kids at that table saying, this doesn't look right. Because they were talking so much that it was affecting, the brain is switching back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we've already talked about how much light, how difficult it is to see light as it really is versus like a symbol. The more you talk, that's left side. The more you talk, the more you have symbols that happen in your brain rather than the really complex lines that you need to see, okay? So be careful of talking too much while you work, because it will shift your brain back and forth. That's why it's kind of, you'll hear me while I'm drawing. If I'm showing you guys something on the screen and I'm drawing, you will hear me actually have stutter happen. And I don't normally have a stutter, but when I'm drawing and I'm talking to you about drawing, which is really hard for me, your brain's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you'll either hear me pause while I'm talking to you, or like kind of lapse into quiet for a second, or begin to kind of stutter or kind of have trouble pronouncing my words. It's because my brain is having that much trouble going back and forth. Now, if I've been doing it, and I'm 46 years old, and I've been doing it since I was like 6, that's a long amount of time to draw, right? Like, I've always been able to draw pretty well. If I've been doing it that long and I'm having trouble going back and forth, you probably want to limit your talking, okay? I don't want to say you can't talk at all, because sometimes you might have to look at your friend and say, hey, do you think this is matching up in this square? Once or twice with that would work. But like when you're having a huge conversation about like Fortnite and other stuff, like that's just not gonna work, okay? You gotta get your body calm, and when your brain starts telling you that you can't do this, you've gotta tell it to be quiet. Like you gotta just see it and put it. Sometimes kids, John, stay right there. Sometimes kids will say to me, they'll bring their picture up and they'll say, is this right? And they don't bring that. They don't bring this with them. I have no clue if it's right or not. Why? I know nothing. The reason I can draw this is because I know nothing. I just see it all. Do you get that? I'm just seeing it. I don't, like, it's not that I know it. There's not enough, I don't have enough brain cells to know it. There's too many lines in the world to memorize. There's no way I could do it. But I can see it and put it. And that's all I'm asking you to do. Just see it and put it. Don't like try to analyze it, you know, and figure out why it's doing that. Just look at where it is on the square, put it there. If it's not in the right spot, erase it, put it again until you get it, okay? But if you're talking, that's showing me, first of all, 2 things. They're talking like that. Do you know why they were? They were doing that because they were scared. They were scared they couldn't do it. And they were scared they couldn't do it in front of their peers. So there's 2 things right there that are big for middle schoolers, right? Fear and fear in front of peers. So when those kids are acting cool and talking and everything, they really are screaming, hey, I'm so scared, I'm shaking in my boots. Okay? All right, thanks. So